Barbershop conversation, guys. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. I'm going down my timeline and I see Anthony Joshua at the press conference today, and Derrick James was there. Didn't I tell y'all like 2 months ago? Check my community section. You know what I mean? I told y'all. You lying. My Dallas connects are like A1. Man, I got Texas on lock. But I want to say this. One, Derrick James and Anthony Joshua needs to have an American Media Day. Eddie Hearn needs to schedule that. He's never sat down with American media, and I think it would be to his benefit. He has an American trainer now. He's training in America for 2 months. They should have an American Media Day, and I'm sure many American media members will fly down to Dallas, and I think that'd be great. Earl's fight should be announced next week or the next 10 days, next 2 weeks, I'm assuming. You know, so March, April, May, yeah, next 2 weeks. They should have, or he should attend. I don't know, but he needs to sit down with American media. And I'll say this, as I always say this, not from a racial standpoint, but from a genetic standpoint and a DNA standpoint. Black trainers that I've seen over the years, I've been in hundreds of gyms, hundreds of hours in gyms, thousands of hours in gyms. If you guys know, I trained at a Mexican gym for a few years. It's a different cadence. It is, man. And that's just the reality of it. And it's always going to be in boxing. You know, that's why the Mexican fighters say, he ran like a rabbit. What Robert Guerrero dad say? He ran like a chick. I don't know. They all say. Robert Garcia say, if Robert Garcia loses to a black fighter, if a Mexican fighter loses to a black fighter, they're gonna say he ran. You know, but you know that's the DNA of a black fighter. And I think Anthony Joshua needs to be on cadence. He's been off cadence for a long, long time, and they have a perfect opponent, a shorter opponent. They have the height and reach advantage. It will be in the O2 Arena. Franklin will have to travel. It's a perfect opponent for him to display what Derrick James' accuracy and power, and two, his gas tank. Anthony Joshua has had gas tank problems, and I think Derrick James will help that because Jamel and Earl don't have gas tank problems. So we'll see on that. So and the one thing I will say about Derrick James is he got a lot of quality in his gym. And his in-fight instruction is well above average. He's tremendous. Derrick James is tremendous. I think his interviewing has been disingenuous lately, and I think he knows it too. But outside of his below average interviews he's been given, the anecdotes and the fiasco, the disingenuousness in his interviews. And this ain't no hate because I'm a huge advocate of Derrick James, but I think falling under the umbrella of Al Heyman has forced Derrick James, and I would say even Errol Spence. If I still don't believe that Keith Thurman fight is happening. I don't believe Errol's going to take that fight at 154. I don't believe it. But I think that falling under the umbrella of the lies and the disingenuousness of that negotiations and Al Heyman we'll save that for a whole nother day. I want to say, but Derrick James will be a huge asset to him. I'm real interested how the black fan base assembles itself as it pertains to Anthony Joshua. And that's why I think it's real, real critical. And Eddie Hearn watches my stuff, so I think he needs to have an American Media Day. And his next two opponents need to be American. No more UK fighters. He's on the last stint of his career. He needs to fight some American fighters. He's training in America. If you got to take him to the O2 Arena because you got to hit your bottom line, that's fine. But I think he needs to go back to New York. His next fight needs to be in New York for a title eliminator, or his third fight. And then the fourth fight should be Deontay Wilder, you know, and hopefully that this happens before the end of 2024. And everybody's happy. You already know the WBC will give you a title eliminator. So go the WBC route, man. But I'm real interested because this is what I predicted, what I told him to do. There's really only 3 trainers, a handful of trainers in America that really could help him immediately. I would say Malik Scott, Derrick James, and Kevin Cunningham. Those are the ones that come off the top of my head that I believe that will instill discipline, accountability, and but obviously he can't train with Malik Scott, so that leaves Derrick James, Camp Cunningham, and who else? That's just off the top of my head, you know. There are others that I'm drawing a blank on, but I think Breadman would be a good, but Breadman is in Philadelphia, so I don't know if they would have to move Camp. I think Anthony Joshua needs to see the sun. I think he needs to wake up with the sun. You know, even though he doesn't need to lose weight, but I just think it's just a different mindset when you're training in the snow versus training in 70-degree weather in February in Texas or Miami or even LA, you know, Vegas too. So good combination. I'm looking forward to see what happens. And two, here's another thing that I'm happy about too. Eddie Hearn is listening. Eddie Hearn is listening. This fight will not be on pay-per-view. So Anthony Joshua will be with your DAZN subscription, and that's a good thing. So it will be $19.99, which is $20, and so that's good, man. I genuinely appreciate that, and I think PBC needs to step up and do that if we're going to do it that way, and hopefully Top Rank stays out of the pay-per-view market, and BLK Prime came into the game at $40, so that's what we should expect. I know DAZN came in at $9.99, but that was just unrealistic. I think they should have came in at like $29.99, and first fight should have been Anthony Joshua. First fight should have been, if they had Canelo at the time. They didn't have Canelo at the time, but that's what they should have did. But what do I know? Hindsight's always 20/20. But not hindsight for me, because I explained it to y'all years ago. And I'll say this, all you B-level 147 guys, not out of disrespect, but where you are in the ranking system, y'all better go sign up for that Conor Ben fight and get a payday. I'm just telling y'all. You better go over to the O2 Arena and get that Conor Ben payday. I don't know who he's fighting next. I heard Manny Pacquiao. I don't know, but because the money's drying up over here in America. You see, Cool Boy Steph is going to Japan. Tony Harrison is going to Australia. So that leads everybody to believe that if you're not a money man for PBC, mean you're not generating, Al has no reason to protect you. He's going to protect Tank, and he's going to protect his other fighters. So anyways, man, y'all have a great day. Barbershop Conversations. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. I think Derrick James and Anthony Joshua will be good. I'm real interested to see how the American fan base, because of what's the term? The respect and admiration they have for Errol Spence, will that carry over into Anthony Joshua? Because we've only heard one side of the story for years, and so it is what it is, man. And Barbershop Conversations, man. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. And if you go watch my old videos on Anthony Joshua, my respect for Anthony Joshua grew when he took the rematch with Usyk, and I didn't like the Robert Garcia move. I thought that was terrible. Yeah, but I would love to sit down. I would love for him to sit down with American media for an hour. Like, mature. Don't ask no stupid ass questions. Like, man, just ask him honest, straightforward questions. He seems like he enjoys the banter, the conversation, as I'm watching a Boxing Social interview right now. I think that'd be good for us. And I think his next fight needs to be in New York. That's all I'm saying. Barbershop Conversation. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. I'll holla. Peace.